Hello, beautiful gardeners. It's Aubrey. This is Crybaby Cinema Homestead. I'm still recovering from some bronchitis or something, so excuse my voice. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what we are doing in February here in Zone 8, the Pacific Northwest, Washington State. This is a temperate climate, so it's a little too early to start planting things outdoors. I do have a lot of perennials, like blueberries and aronia berries and apple trees that are outside all year long. As you saw in my last video, I am doing a lot outside, but it's the wrong time to start seeds outside. In April, I will start some radishes and things outdoors, and pretty soon, any day now, like when I have time, I'm going to start some peppers. Now is a good time to start peppers, as well as the beginning of March. I want to make sure I have plenty of time for them to size up before I transplant them out after my last frost. Peppers are really the slowest growing. So I really want to start them earlier than tomatoes. Tomatoes, they're pretty fast growing for me anyways. And I have before started them too early and ended up with plants that were like monstrous. They were like, it was like a tomato jungle. And some of the types I was growing was mostly indeterminate. So they're like vining into each other. It was crazy. It was like, when those you have a necklace and it gets like tangled up, that's what it was like. And so don't be overly anxious and eager to get things started. If you have, let's say, tomatoes that are a very large tomato fruit, you want to start those earlier than your cherry tomatoes because they need longer to actually become ripe. So I'm starting with my peppers, and then I'm going to do, onions too, because I want to try flats of onion seeds, maybe leeks. So I'm going to do some trays of alliums as well very soon. And if you miss your window with your alliums, it's not the end of the world because at least in zone 8, they will overwinter for me and you can actually harvest them later. And if you get it off just a little bit, you might mess up and have a smaller onion, but you're still going to have an onion and you still can eat the greens from the onions. So I will be starting them pretty soon though, because I do want to get nice big bulbs out of them. Walla Wallas are my absolute favorite. And whenever I've seen the sets for sale, they've been rotten. And I've looked around. I did buy some onion sets at Walmart just the other day. And they look good. But everywhere else, they have looked really bad. So don't put all your alliums in one basket. Just kidding. So I am growing Egyptian walking onions, which are perennial. And as you saw in one of my other videos, I ordered some seeds that are like the bunching onions that are perennial, as well as they're called potato onion, which I really hope they are what they say they are. I got them from somebody on Etsy, and they seemed pretty legit, so I'm going to give them a chance. Hopefully that works out. But I also want to grow some annual types of onions. All onions are basically biennial, or most of them are. There are some perennials. They basically flower in their second year, and then you can collect the seeds. So I do want to have some that are going to really bulb up, and you're basically going to be eating the bulb. So that's the end of the story for the onion, okay? But I do want to get some nice big bulbs, and I really do prefer the sweeter varieties of onions, like Walla Walla are my favorite. But I also have bought a lot of different varieties. So I'm going to do some comparing and contrasting and see what we like. Which is funny, today we did an onion cell lab in class, and the kids got to peel the little thin layer of cells and look at them under a microscope, which was a lot of fun. So I'm going to grow some onions, peppers, and then in a week or two later, I'm going to start my tomatoes that have really big fruit. And then like a week or two later, I'm going to do cherry tomatoes and determinate tomatoes. And then I'll do ground cherries and tomatillos and eggplants. So got it kind of planned out that way. That's talking about seeds. And anything that can be direct sown, I will direct sow most of those things because it saves a lot of work. And even though it's not that much work to put something into a cup and then transplant it, every extra step means that I'm not going to get to something else later. So time is not infinite, it is finite for us. So I'm going to try to be conscious of my time and how I organize things. So if you don't already kind of map out when you do your garden, when I first started gardening, I didn't either. I just willy-nilly planted anything. And surprisingly, it did really well. Like, I planted things all at the wrong times. I basically started planting in April back in those days. I planted everything in April. And I would get not all of the stuff all at one time. And then whenever I harvested something, I would walk around with a pocket full of radish seeds or cilantro seeds. And I just pop in those seeds wherever I had a gap. And that works. If you're getting overwhelmed with how organized you have to be for a garden, then don't. Because when I first started, I really wasn't ready for it. I just was like, oh, let's do a garden bed here. And I started. And there's a learning curve. So just get started. Start figuring out what you're going to do next, though. What needs to be started early that you need to transplant later, like peppers, onions. Because with onions, I'm talking about the seeds. Because I have some sets. I'm not going to put those out yet. But to get seeds ready, that needs to be soon. That way we can actually get a nice big harvest of actual nice big size onions. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I also need to organize my seeds. And I keep revamping the whole organization flow because I want to make it more user friendly, and the user is me. And when you're organizing your seeds, you are the user. The only person who really needs to get your system is you. I was organizing alphabetically, and that doesn't always make sense because I'd have all my tomatoes would be together, right? And they'd be alphabetized, and all my peppers would be together and they'd be alphabetized. But then I'd have some weird varieties of things, and they would be alphabetized A through Z, but the same genus of plants was in 25 different places. So alphabetizing them like flowers, I might have bachelor buttons and then zinnias and carnations, and they're all separated. But when I'm planting flowers, I usually go out and I plant flowers. So I'm trying to organize more by what would I do in that day? So I'm organizing it more by time. My squash, melon, gourds, cucumbers, I usually start those around the same time. And now some of them you can succession plant. But I also, when I'm looking for something, I'm like, okay, well, I think about the shape and how the plant presents. Is it needs to be trellised or doesn't need to be trellised? Does it need support or doesn't need support? Where am I going to plant it? And so I am going to start organizing my squash, melon, cucumbers, gourds, kind of in the same place, because also a lot of them have names that are misnomers. Well, it would be shark fin melon, and then cucumbers are related to melons. And you might have some things that are savory or sweet, so you think of it as, oh, that's got to be this or that, but it really is a different variety. Some of the varieties have a different name in it. They say it's a squash or a melon, but it's really a gourd. So I'm kind of going to be putting all those things, the gourds, melons, squash, and cucumbers and stuff, all together. And then within that grouping, I'm going to be, okay, well, all these are squash, and that includes pumpkins. And then they're alphabetized. And as I'm doing that, I am looking for things that are really old. So I'm looking at the dates. I have some things that are prior to 2010. Some things are 2008, 2004. So it'll be an experiment to see if those things are going to sprout. I only have a few packages that are really old, because I really try to rotate my seeds so they don't go bad. If I waste seeds, I feel like I've murdered them. So I always give them a chance. And I figure if I plant the seeds and sometimes they don't sprout for a long time. A little older seeds sometimes will take longer and they will eventually sprout. But I also think I'm putting it back into the earth. Like on one of the videos I showed you, I used the chaff for my lavender in a strawberry bed. And I said, I really don't think I got every single lavender seed out of that material. And I don't want to throw it away. So I use it as chop and drop. And a lot of the material did have seeds and it sprouted. And now I've got this huge thing full of lavender babies. So I will plant things first that I think are possibly, getting towards the end of their life cycle. The end of their, like they're not going to make it anymore. They're getting too old. So those are going to be first. I'm going to prioritize those items. Also, I'm getting ready for a plant swap. So I could also start some of those things and see if they germinate. And if they do, I can swap the plants for other plants that maybe I don't have. So even though it's February and it's not time to plant seeds outside or transplant most of my plants outside, I'm doing a lot. I'm cleaning up the property. There's like a lot of debris, lots of fallen leaves, lots of things have got knocked over. Some pots have broken. And so I need to reorganize both the front and backyards. I want it to be more appealing, curb appeal kind of thing. I don't really care about things being super perfect, but I still want things to look nice for myself and to be able to enjoy my garden and have it accessible. So on any days when it's not raining and snowing and it's miserable to get your hands wet and dirty, I'm really trying to use that time, because this time right now that you have, I know like we like to take like a little bit of a respite during the wintertime, but there are a lot of things you can be doing. Getting organized, getting set up, getting maybe the materials ready to go. You could start mixing your soil. You could be doing some chop and drop. I wouldn't be like raking up leaves at this time, because there are a lot of organisms in the soil that are overwintering and hibernating in the soil. So I just like leave it, but I do some chop and drop, let it break down. So it's going back into the earth and the soil is getting a lot richer and nutrient dense, so that when I do plant something in that soil, so we've established it's February, end of February, going into the beginning of March, and there's a lot to be done in the garden. Even though we're not planting everything now, if you're going to start your own peppers from seed, now is the time. And there is kind of bragging rights if you plant your peppers and tomatoes from seeds. It's like, this is from seed. There's a whole another level of gardener when you're planting from seed. I'm not going to shame you if you buy your plants from garden centers and things like that. That's okay. I do recommend that you plant your tomatoes from seed, because I've picked up a lot of diseases from even the farmer's market. Like oh, they're so cute. They brought them home, and then like within a day or two, they already had disease. Like it was clearly that they had diseases, and they spread it to my other plants. So peppers, I've had pretty good luck buying them from stores. That's okay. But I am going to be starting most of my peppers from seeds. And I am excited about growing Sugar Rush Peach. And, there's some other ones, really pretty ones. I'll have to show those to you later. And maybe I'll do like a little video on just tomatoes and one on just peppers and kind of show you what I'm looking at. But go ahead and pop a comment below. What are you working on in your garden this time of year? What are your plans? What are you doing right now? So, like, I figure, planning your garden, getting it cleaned up, getting things ready, having the pots or the containers you're going to be using, getting the soil, and if you're going to add things into that, like worm castings and perlite and that kind of stuff. I mean, getting your hands on that material now is a good idea. Sometimes there's sales, sometimes not. Keep your eyes open. You'll kind of get the rhythm of your stores when they kind of see you seem to have things on sale. And yeah, so start starting some seeds. Onions are going to be good to start. You can also, this time of year, I'm going to be doing some more cloning because not everything's woken up yet. So I think I can still do some cloning of my hazelnuts. That's one thing I'm going to do a lot of clones on. Yes. Yes, I am. Mental note. I'm still working on my organization. I ordered some more mesh bags from Temu, and I hope they come soon. So then I can continue because I really max the capacity of what those things can hold. But I'm going to be getting more and more of the things sorted and organized into them. And I keep revamping as I go along. I'll show you what I end up doing. But yeah, just keep it going. Keep your garden going. You probably have some things that are starting to sprout up. And that's okay. They'll do what they're going to do. Don't worry about it too much. Worry really is a waste of your energy. So just try to, you can only control so much. So with that, comment about what you're doing, what you're going to get ready for the end of February, beginning of March. What are you doing in your garden? What are you starting? What are you pruning, organizing? All that kind of stuff. God bless you. Live long and prosper. Be good, be sweet, and grow a garden if you want to eat. Bye, everybody. I'll see you next time.